stack up, this could be a real slog. And I don't think anyone can get away from SSG being the SSG Rome innovators, the ones who brought that strategy to the fore all those years ago. Very different team, but still a lot of story on this map. Really hard to call which way it goes. I'm excited to see how it boils down, Tim.
Yeah, 100%.
Are you still thinking about that poetry?
I was just trying to wrap my head around the rhyme. We know how good W7M have been in the past. Like you said, for me, this is two teams that have been great on Clubhouse. Now I want to see if one of them still is. You know, W7M got beaten yesterday, I believe it was, on Clubhouse, if I'm remembering correctly. And yeah, I think it was yesterday. There's been a lot of siege in a short space of time.
What Jackie said you don't remember yesterday,
Very confusing. But yeah, you know, I want to see which one is still great, if either. Capitao will be our first ban, so makes perfect sense. SSG just trying to keep that catwalk safe.
I'll tell you what, Herds is already in the chat giving a bit of beef. Good luck, you'll need it.
You'll need it.
Who are you? Alamau, is this what all the Brazilian players are doing in this competition? He's saying you good luck, you'll need it.
He had me in the first half, I'm not going to lie.
All right, Capitao, the KB taken away. We spoke about the KB an awful lot across the first few days of this competition. Banned seemingly every single game, and whenever it wasn't, it was picked almost every single attacking round. In fact, I'd love, Fresh, if you're listening, I'd love to hear the presence percentage for the KB. So, a combination of rounds banned and rounds picked when available. What does that currently look like? Last two bans, Valk and the Bandit. Bandit, an interesting one coming out here. Will deny away some of that tricking option that teams like to employ when trying to keep Church Wall electrified, CC Wall electrified, Jacuzzi Wall electrified, or even single construction wall electrified. Time will tell how the teams adapt to that one. It's SSG starting on the defense and W7M on the attack. Nice, thanks.
It's like a fish of some sort.
What on earth is that?
I love that this is turning into like the sort of fishing major. We just seem to have fish cropping up everywhere.
It was Bleed, wasn't it, with the massive fish that they found on the base shop.
Now we've got pictures of fish.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, we just need maybe a little content piece.
I love it. You know what I love? I love that our analyst desk is actually in the middle of all the players. If you go around the side of it,
I do like that.
It's like a corridor, and down either side of the corridor, there's like two sets of like tables, and those two sets of tables are where different teams play. 4 teams at once. You can have 2 setting up and 2 playing, but it just feels like you're walking onto like a workshop floor where all the chaos is going off. You get mad stuff like fish being dragged in there, a halftime shows getting set up while the team's doing their pre-game talk. It's absolutely delightful. It really feels like Siege is alive while she stood out there. But Tim, we're into our first round. Here we go. As said, SSG starting off on the defensive side, and Forest is feeling a little bit cheeky up against Adam Window here, daring someone to get close to start that rappel sound, and fair chances you will see him out of this window in no time at all.
More than likely. Bandit ban came in as well. Second time that we've seen a Bandit ban here at the Major. Obviously, again, just playing into more than likely towards that CCTV in the gym bedroom side. Forest has a little luck, but not.
JB was ready for him.
Defending downstairs. SSG fairly set down towards getting across that clearance. SSG fairly set down towards side.
Got it.
There we go.
Do that
Words are hard. Words are hard. And W7M are recognising that. They're getting themselves inside of the map quickly. Within a minute, they're already peppering them from above.
That is pain. Ouch. I mean, there were 3 that were stacked up around Adam initially when we had Forest looking at getting out that window just to make sure there was apt support. But with that now over and done with, it is for the attackers just to get themselves fully set up on clearing out the entirety of this kitchen hall, getting all the vertical angles they need, and starting to think about what an execute may look like. They've got plenty of hard breach to play with here, not just in the back pocket of the Ying, but also in the form of the Thermite and the Escaros of the Hibana. So all these hatches should be opened up, and any walls they want opened up, pretty much guaranteed to be just that, Tim. Starting with Dirt Tunnel being opened up by Nate.
Yeah, Nate's going to give that option. If the defenders know that Dirt's open, it obviously becomes a little bit of a focal point as well, which they will, because Forest is right on the breach. I tell you what, though, I'll bet the W7M aren't ready for this. If Forest can just bide his time and be patient here, there's a real opportunity for him to potentially spring a little bit of a trap here. He's just going to wait and wait, and to be honest with you, for the time being, he can wait there. They don't really need him back inside of sight. They've got 4 others down there, and until that final blood path, it's not the end of the world. And even if Forest is still out at the top of Dirt, he can just run his way back on into sight. So he may well just stick at that one for a while. He's still there as as I speak.
Oh, here we go, charging straight in as well.
However,
Candelas came out, and that was the charge on in. A nade, fully capitalising on the chaos off the Candelas, coming on through as found two. KZ's found one as well, but Hot and Cold is shutting things up at the other end of the map. Not that it matters, because KZ has then walked to 2K to close things out. Pretty cozy first round. I mean, I can't even hear myself think over that screaming, Tim, but I imagine this game is going to be full of a lot of that, to be honest with you.
High energy, I think you'd call it.
Yeah, that's one way of describing it.
Yeah,
quite a neutral way of putting it.
High energy game. Yeah, I mean, I like what Forest was doing. There was no problem with him being up there. At the end of the day, the W7M just rushed in from bar hatch, just dropped straight in. Boom, Nade gets a double kill. There's nothing really that you can do about that. It's just one of those gunfights that you've got to win, really. So SSG trying to turtle up on site. I think it just gave W7M a little bit of too much freedom. So this time from SSG, and in future rounds, I'd like to see them maybe just with a little bit more presence out there in the map, because W7M obviously recognising where that space is available very, very quickly and taking advantage of it. So the more that SSG sit in sight, I think the more quickly W7M will work, the quicker the pressure will build, the more they'll get themselves into those positions to isolate people and take gunfights. So for me, SSG have a couple of players out there in the map, force W7M to clear a little bit, and just make sure that you burn in a bit more of that time, because I think W7M certainly thrived with how much time they had available that round.
Yeah, it felt like a bit of a dry run for them in a sense. We've got our strat, we know how you want to approach this attack, let's go and execute it, and with SSG being relatively static downstairs, felt a little bit too easy for the Brazilians to get their march on. Well, now we're up to Cash and CC, so the other end of the map entirely. I'm looking on this attack inside, Tim. One, I'm seeing the Monty, already a bit of a headache towards Catwalk, but maybe even more importantly is the Lion and the Grim combo. In the game earlier on, we had things like the Grim joined up with the Lion, joined up with the DKB, that just made life absolute hell for the defenders. So even having two of those three in combo here, going to make things really difficult if SSG do choose to try and get out around the map or to anchor on site. If you sit still, then Bs are going to detect you anyway. The only way I can really put this, Tim, is you are screwed.
Yeah, Forest is out and about a little bit, out in logistics at the minute, so that's something W7M have to be aware of, joined by Fultz as well, who is going to pick up that opener onto JV92 as he tries to come in through the wall. I'm also interested to keep an eye on Catwalk. Nade is pretty much abandoning it at the minute by the looks of it. That's why you bring the Monties to try and pressure Catwalk. But let's not forget, SSG banned out Capitao, so it makes it difficult to clear out that Catwalk. What do you bring instead? They don't have any nades on site, so how exactly do you clear those two operators from Catwalk? And at the minute, it looks like W7M don't have an answer. They do, however, have an answer to Forest.
I like this when you've been given so much time in a round and you're quite a quick team anyway. You can move this Monty in from the west side. It's very rare that we see this. Ashen did not expect Tough Philippox charging in behind him from Secret there, but he's managed to get away with it. A bit of ring around the roses, I'm afraid. Will say though, Tim, look to your top right corner of the screen. Drone-wise, only two halfway through the round remain standing for W7M. They have put a lot of effort into trying to get this west side of the map. This Monty is going to be critical to keep alive because he will be their primary source of information as they line up for an execute inside of Cash and CC.
I like that SSG are using this hold against W7M, so having, there you go, that's exactly what I was about to talk about. J9O steps out and manages to get a nice kill through the soft wall there of construction. The first time that I ever saw that setup with construction wall being opened was actually done inside of the LATAM region. We're talking back to about 2021 from memory. I think I'm right in saying it was Julio and NIP that I first saw using it, and you just basically open up that construction wall rather than reinforcing, and you get a line of sight all the way across the bedroom. J9O has just played that position absolutely beautifully. I mentioned Julio because it was usually his position in behind that bomb chassis, peeking through the long angle into bedroom, stepping out into construction, and J9O has just done it absolutely beautifully. SSG using what I would... pretty sure memory serves me right, was something I saw first crop up in LATAM against the LATAM team and making it pay dividends. Really well played, SSG.
Absolutely beautiful. Just very calm and collected, at least in that round. J9O in particular, the one that I'm looking at when I make that statement. Happy to just spin on his heels a little bit and collect kills across the map. At long range, at short range, it didn't really seem to matter. Wasn't really phased by seemingly anything. There's the one literally steps one step to his right-hand side and gets one. Pokes one out towards the window and then gets out of dodge, starts looking back in towards construction and swings in for another. All too easy for him there, meaning his team really had a bit of a round off, to be completely honest with you, Tim. Gives us a one-on-one, a very dominant first round coming out from W7M, a very dominant one in the second one from J9O in particular. Now I'm going to head back down to that basement again and try and make this one stick for the defenders this time around.
Yeah, it was great. Great for J9. Really commanded that area, and that's what you're looking for on defence. You know, you're looking for players to sort of have those areas where they can just be like, oh, I've got this on lock. You guys worry about everything else. You know, and when you get that within a team like SSG, no doubt, with J9 there, they can focus on everything else. They can think about the catwalk. They can think about the cash wall. They can think about everything else that they need to. So, round 3, here we go. Ashen is out on their own this time. So, Church and Arsenal was where I said last time around that W7M were given a little bit too much, maybe respect, maybe just time, but SSG didn't play out into the map. They turtled up on site and it just really didn't work for them. W7M had far too much time to get on the drones, spot the space, drop down the hatch and just charge on into site and start getting kills. So for me, SSG need to create them some more problems. They need to give them something else to think about.
And the mark begins. But again, knowing how quick W7M have been, as you say, it's a case of wanting to try and match them, but the oppression they bring is when you start trying to roam against them, unless you're willing to stack at 2, 3 players out on a roam against them, they will very happily close you down with Herds, for example, or have someone just drive by Ferrari peek you like, I don't know, probably Herds in this case, or KZ, and just absolutely dome you wherever you may stand. So it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of situation for them. It's probably the fear for SSG. So trying to get smart about their defense is going to be a big part of winning this round. But here we are, what, 75 seconds in? Got our hatch opened up inside the kitchen. Already got a lot of the work done in opening up kitchen hallway as well. It's going well for W7M.
JV92 just needing to be cautious there. Fultz was watching that spot, but he's not going to get the angle that he needs. However, he will find a down and the Toxic Babe canister, and I believe that has come from Dirt Tunnel onto kitchen window. Absolutely beautiful play from Fultz. I don't know if JV92 had maybe moved to relocate to Dirt or something, but one way or another, Fultz gets it done. Yes, he had, so he was just moving away from kitchen. Fultz was there ready. The position that Forrest played last time around, and I commented that, you know, there's no problem playing that aggressive up Dirt Tunnel. You can just hold on to that position for a while. It looks like W7M are going to be going for the same that they did last time, which is the drop of bar hatch and straight into sight. Nice drop as well. They were relying so much on the Fenrir Dreadmine that with it being disabled by that EMP, well, look at what's happened. It's caught them out entirely. Candelas can now rain on through. They need to get rid, really, of the Fenrir gadget, though, at the same time. They have just left it there disabled. Only last 9 seconds with those micro EMPs. Hurts in for 1, not quite in for a second, but it's still a big numbers advantage for W7M, Tim. 39 seconds left to go. Ashen needs to find this kill, and will do. Keys gets put down, and Nade manages to find the trade, though. 1 versus 1 as J9. Oh, cannot pick up the last. And W7M managed to close things out. Big finish. Church and Arsenal certainly not proving to be SSG's sight. I think they'll probably head up to the top floor again next time around. Imagine so, yes. They look very comfortable attacking downstairs. I think they're just giving them too much time. Like I say, yes, Fultz got that opening kill, but again, SSG didn't play out into the map, and W7M just had plenty of time to stack up and say, right, yeah, we've got the drones, we've got the info, this is where we're going to go, and there's just, they're not forcing them to think about enough. Like, W7M aren't worrying, for example, about a flank. They just stood in bar waiting to drop that hatch, 3 of them, for 20 seconds. No concern that they're going to get flanked from upstairs, no concern that there's anybody else in the map that can do anything to them. So, yeah, for that bottom floor, SSG, I think, just needs to pay attention to everywhere else as well. I think really, it reminds me a lot of BDS from 2 years ago, when BDS used to be the sort of team that would be executing on site downstairs with 70 seconds still left on the clock. Is they'd be so quick at getting themselves in position around hatches to go for an execute and not really having to deal with any roamers around them. I'd be like, right, well, we haven't got to wait another like 30 seconds. Why don't we just go now? And if things go awry, then we've got a whole minute to course correct and figure something out. And it feels the same watching W7M here, is they're being so quick and effective about clearing a map that SSG is largely giving up for free that it's really hard to see much more coming back for them. I think this round will be a bit of a teller as well with the extended hold out towards Cash and CC that we so often see. There's a few lines of defense here that SSG have drawn up. You've got a mirror window inside logistics looking down through all into construction. You've got an actual shield on the south side of construction watching up towards the north side, the single VIP wall, the cash exit, for example, and they've got an extended hold set up. There's 2 or 3 lines here that SSG can fall back to, but it does mean getting aggressive to start with, and this could be the kind of aggression I'm talking about, assuming Ashen can find someone. Not looking good for him at the minute as players have repositioned, and it's going to be a bit of a risk standing underneath this. Herds has already got the angle. Ashen does manage to move away, but not too far. It's such a gamble of a play. I'm not going to criticise it. You know, sometimes you've got to take those risks and give it a go. If Ashen gets a kill there, we're saying how fantastic it is. You know, but realistically, what you're hoping for is basically somebody stood in exactly the right place for you. And when they're not, and you've got to move away, you're moving into that line of sight, and he gets punished for it. But to be fair, SSG, they don't come away too badly. They're still a man up at 4 versus 3.
Not the end of the world, I think. Like you say, if he gets that kill, he's a hero. If he fails it, then it looks a bit silly, but at least he's trying, and that's
you got to give it a go.
Absolutely. And that one was out towards main breach as well. As you can see, the blood splattered across the table. And as I said, there are still these lines of defense that they can work with here, and really it's about anyone who's out on the roam, i.e. Fultz, now starting to look to strike anyone playing below. And Philippox may well be that identified target that they want to hunt down.
JV92 going to open up the soft garage wall and move in. I don't think that they're aware of Fultz's position. Now then, if his teammates can create a little noise potentially, he might be able to clear out these track stingers without giving too much away. Philippox is just going to double down on that, which is going to make their life a lot more difficult. But he's certainly thinking about how far he can push up here, and I don't think they're aware whatsoever. If he goes for this peak, Philippox will get picked up, but he manages to scurry away to safety through stock. But the bigger problem is that they still have a Solus potentially on their flank without really being able to lock him down at the minute.
A real example there of how the gridlock gadget is just so valuable. For those of you aren't aware, why are we seeing so much gridlock? It's because she's now got nades, but that gadget has also had some buffs over the last year or so, to a point it's now pretty ridiculous. And Philippox down below making good use of those frag grenades that we spoke about to do some work. So really stopping them maybe once here. Bolt shots first. I was going to say really good at stopping these roamers from doing anything, but they've done just that. Last one left standing now. It's JV92 trying to push into both Fultz and Hot and Cold. For now, at least the site only has one person on it, because we had Fultz retreating back up the main stairs towards site, and JV's using that to make quite an aggressive move here. He's got himself a 3K, but only 10 seconds to go, and he's got the diffuser in back pocket.
It's just going to be that ring around the roses as Fultz tries to keep himself out of the line of sight for as long as possible. Catches JV in no man's land in the middle of bedroom there as he rotates himself into Jim. Beautiful use of the rotation. Fultz has had a big round for SSG there. Not only does he pick up the kill when moving back from the roam up main stairs, which was really well done, kept himself off the radar. You know, how many players would have been tempted to go for Philippox in lounge and just maybe push through those track stingers and have a go or shoot a couple of them out and just think that they could move quicker and shoot better? But no, he just bided his time, just waited for what he knew would be a better opportunity coming, and keeping himself alive late into the round proved to pay dividends for Fultz. Really well played. SSG level things up. It's 2-2.
They do. Almost in March this time around. It's going to be down in that basement once again. Clearly the go-to sites here wherever available. My only real concern here for SSG is this is the only site that they find themselves falling short on. Everything else they've done pretty well on. Maybe they're out of options at this point, having played those sites and thinking, well, we've got to make basement work at some point here. It's essentially their off-site, if you want to look at it that way. W7M probably feeling quite confident knowing coming into it. They've won it twice so far in this half. Really, the onus turns to SSG to be the ones that have to change something. And Tim, given the lineup in this round, I'd say they are definitely trying that with the Azami, the Alibi, the Solus. They do want to get out around the map. They do want to cause a little bit of trouble. But like I mentioned earlier on, there's every opportunity for W7M to really just hunt them down and isolate these roamers. Given how quick they are at moving through the map, it's not going to be the end of the world if they have to take 60 seconds to go and kill a roamer or two.
Probably not, but it'll be interesting at least to see if what I've been asking for a couple of rounds ends up paying off or not. We'll see whether SSG managed to get it done this time. Hotton's just waiting down in the oil pit there, nitro in hand, ripped and ready so he doesn't give it away with an audio cue. Ashen it will be to kick things off though, and look at that, Des. He's out in the map and he finds himself a kill, managing to put at least the best foot forward for SSG here, taking nade off the board, and it's the thermite. They've still got the Hibana and the ace, plenty of hard breach utility for them to use, but they've yet to deal with Ashen, and we're nearly a minute in. This is well played so far from SSG.
Well, are they going to pinch him? There's a Lion working in from one side. We've also got the Hibana looking in to join here as well. So Ashen should be dead to rights, and sure enough, KZ finds him. They make it a 1-for-1. He's still done a good bit of damage though. He got rid of the thermite. There's the hard breach being taken offline. Not really the end of the world for this side, because you've got the Hibana on side. She's the queen of hatches. Her job is to get open these 3 hatches that you sorely need opened up. Jane, I know, with a wonderful shot onto KZ at further distance, mind you. And it's, again, not the end of the world with the operators they're finding. I'm pretty sure all the EE1Ds were down, but it's still a gun that is being taken away from W7M, so they don't have this flooding execute that we saw the last 2 times we were on this site.
Yeah, it's much better, and as I say, by getting out in the map, SSG have given them a headache. They've given them more to think about. They've wasted half of the round, they've taken 2 bodies with them, and all of a sudden W7M cannot play their primary game plan for attacking this site. It's not to say they won't go on and win it. They're trying to open up long angles, they're adapting, they're using plan B, they're going to hassle Church Wall instead. They've got other ideas, but right now they're not paying off as Fultz manages to find a headshot onto for Leapox. SSG now in a 4v2 can sort of just sit back and wait for W7M to make a move.
Just keep catching out one at a time here as well. Now JV's all alone pushing down. It's these Keeler barriers all round have been such a headache. He's managed to drag one back over. Oh, what a shot at range from JV. Sees the literal clip of Fultz's head and gets his man. JV's down to his lasso at this point. Got 2 to try and find down. And again, those keeper barriers are just getting in the way. Flashes them out a little bit deeper on. Can't quite find his man. There's one inside blue, one actually still waiting inside of Church here. With 30 seconds to play, Tim, it's not looking too good.
No, not at all. Hotton and J9 just need to hold on in these positions. They know that there's no real way for JV92 to be able to rotate here and take a different angle, but they're going to keep peeking out, and he's going to punish them. Beautiful headshot. Can he complete this 1v2? He's going to get the diffuser in hand. 10 seconds left to go. He sees the movement. He knows exactly where they're going. JV92 is going to try and get the diffuser down here. J9 just looks for the angle around. Don't get too aggressive, but he goes, and JV somehow comes away with a 1v2. And I think the celebration says it all. W7M winning a round that they had absolutely no right to get anywhere near.
That's going to be a kicker for SSG. They were in such a commanding position, Tim. And they've still managed to let it go. I did really want to come out at the end of this round talking about their use of keeper barriers in that round being really impressive, but JV has stole the show. But to come onto those keeper barriers, you saw a couple of times that once they dropped back through doorways, they were placing them quite high up on the wall. So it was kind of like, well, someone could probably crouch underneath this. And the goal around bottom of main stairs, for example, wasn't to stop someone getting through. It's so that when he steps across to round out the widest part of this keeper barrier, you see his legs first, and you have probably a good 4 or 5 shots that you can get off at the attacking player's feet before they've got anywhere near being able to take a shot back at you. So they were really smart uses, I think, out of J9 in general. But as we always say, Tim, as much as this is a wonderful game of tactics and strategy, at its heart, Siege is still an FPS, and JV has just absolutely domed SSG.
I think JV had plenty of information coming in from his teammates as well there. On the replay, it was clear to see the red ping in behind the keeper barricade, but then there was a yellow ping that came up to the right-hand side, and I think that was the bit of information that JV needed really to say, this is the way that he's going to swing you. J9, it's always a difficult situation. You sort of look at it and, you know, it's easy to sit here and say, well, you know, it's 5 seconds left to go, he just needs to play on the diffuser. But at that point, if that diffuser goes down, you're in a 1v1 gunfight, and J9 was just trying to give himself that little bit of an advantage and maybe catch JV92 without the gun in his hand and without the ability to challenge. But either way, W7M come away with a nice round for them. It looked against them all the way. 3-2, they're going to be looking for a 4-2 attacking half.
Casey's got the right idea. There is someone sat on catwalk waiting and not quite holding the angle, but being willing to challenge it. Like J9 literally a matter of pixels away from taking this gunfight, and the yellow ping is there. Maybe there's a default cam still up. Not that they care. Going to keep a barrier that window and just get it locked off.
Just going to open up with the upside down rappel. Does leave a little vault at the bottom. That's one thing to consider when you're thinking about opening those reinforcements up. We're going to have Nade take down J9 with a pistol kill to kick things off. SSG, I'm a little bit concerned, might be on a slippery slope here as W7M just seem to be taking it up a gear, just gaining a little bit of momentum. Forest is playing that position that J9 was in and played so skillfully previously. Nitro is going to stick, and that's unfortunate. Reinforcement does catch that explosive, and that's going to be some wasted utility.
Well, still with the Grim on side and looking towards that alongside, I was going to say the last E1D and what they can force with this, but that E1D ringing out and not really giving anything on the side of W7M to gain, to be honest, and nothing else. Fultz is still left here, and this is why comboing these two gadgets together can be so powerful, or getting them working alongside drones, but as we're seeing yet again, W7M's drone count is just whittled down so aggressively by the side of SSG that they are having to go in blind in a couple of cases. That's where things like the Lion and the Grim stacking up can be so effective. And as much as they're trying to force this player off catwalk, SSG are capitalising big time. They're down to just one more. It's going to be a 3-3 half, Tim.
Fultz has had a fantastic round there. Once again, it's exactly the same as I've said for him previously on the Soloist. Get Fultz out in the map on the Soloist, and he generally has a very good time of it. And those have been the rounds where SSG have been better. Finish the half 3-3, not the end of the world for either side. I feel like W7M, if anything, may have felt like they could go better than that. Attack on Clubhouse isn't always the end of the world, so it could be a good start for SSG.
Yeah, very well could be. Well, we've got Mango on the line, assistant coach for SSG. Mango, thank you very much for joining us for this brief amount of time. Quick question for you. It feels like a big bet coming into W7M's Fortress map in the form of Clubhouse. Obviously, you guys are good on it as well, but what was the thought process in taking them to such a key map in their arsenal?
You know, we really just looking at the map pool, considering some of the other maps, it was kind of a pick or poison moment, and we felt really good on Clubhouse compared to some of the other maps, and we feel pretty strong on it ourselves, so we weren't really too swayed by the fact that they're also good at it. Knew it was going to be a slugfest either way, so pretty confident regardless.
Mango, we've just seen a couple of rounds there where W7M flexing the mechanical skills a little bit. How much can that impact the team round to round? Do you just sort of brush it off when you lose a round like that to JV92, or does it hurt a bit more than that?
You know, I mean, we could have definitely played that 3v1 definitely a bit better, but, you know, at the end of the day, we just say good, move on to the next round, and take it step by step.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Mango. Really appreciate you tuning in for a few. Catch you next time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Tim, onwards we march then. Basement where things are going to kick off in this second half then. SSG onto the attacking side. And as you heard there a second ago, it's kind of a picky poison. And I remember speaking to Fresh about this a few days ago. And for W7M, their map pool just keeps on getting wider and wider. You know, 5 or 6 maps they claim to be extremely proficient at these days. What do you do when they can ban away most of them?
This is it, and you know, that's the reason Herds just comes in and picks up hot and cold there to kick things off for W7M.
About JV's just so like, yeah, you guys just drop the ceiling above me, you've dropped wrong. Keep watching this window, not even budging an inch. Nope.
And this is why I ask about the mechanical skill side of things from W7M. You know, it always fascinates me how much of an impact does that have. You know, there's plenty of skill on the side of SSG, of course, but when you're going to get yourself into those positions and you're winning in a round and it just gets spun on its head because, well, JV92, it's kind of like playing against Shaiko or any of these other, like, really high skill players when it comes to the aim. It must just be so, you know, taxing over an entire game for a team to get into those winning positions and then book, kill, and the round's over, and there's just seemingly little that you can do about it sometimes.
Absolutely. Well, here we're getting SSG getting to work on the kitchen hallway. Opening up, as we always see, restricting the ability for defenders to move around through long or through short or through pipes and long, whatever you want to call it. And the same sort of story inside a kitchen to stop them playing in back arsenal. So very much trying to force the defenders over towards the east side of the downstairs, which opens up things like a moto drop, a kitchen hatch drop, or pushing down main stairs, or potentially all of those things, including a backstab from oil or blue. So keep a close eye on where it is that SSG start gathering up. Right now, you've got 2 or 3 players around bar and kitchen hallway, because again, they're trying to force these defenders away from the west side of the ground floor, or the basement, sorry, over towards the east side. And that is where J90 will strike. And hopefully, fingers crossed with SSG, take out a couple of players.
Ashen just being held back by the Toxic Babe canister at the minute, suggesting W7M know exactly where this push is mounting up from. It's not too much of a surprise. We get a lot of attention from attackers down at the bottom of main stairs. Ashen's just going to rotate as well onto the hatch, which is just above blue. Sends out a couple of EMPs. I think that's a little bit of a decoy there, just to try and get a bit of attention in that opposite direction as he moves back to the bar hatch, ready to drop into Moto potentially. Fultz is going to open church wall. Just concerned about explosives over the top, but it should be the headshots they're worrying about. As Nade, he picks up 2. Herge joins the party as well, and Ashen finds himself all alone. The explosive finishes off the round. W7M go 5-2.
Great read from Nade as well, just realising again that off the back of utility or certain things happening around him, that there was going to be a push of some kind coming through. Either they've read that the pillar plant was the intended action there for SSG and has just swung at the perfect time to catch them, or again, there was some kind of trigger. Either way, W7M have read SSG's game plan like a book there and taken a very convincing first round down in the basement. Let's not forget, W7M won that downstairs attack a couple of times. Like, even in the third time, they absolutely crushed SSG, whereas in the first attack there, SSG have been completely shut out. 4 players left alive for W7M. Complete and a different story to what we saw in those first 6 rounds.
Going to be heading into round 8 then. W7M. Sorry, I called it as 5-2. It's actually 4-3. I've mistakenly written down 4-2 at the half, but it was 3-3. So SSG. I know. Can you imagine? Rookie mistake. SSG. Still plenty in this. They're going to be attacking onto CCTV this time around. It's again, you know, it comes back, and this is why I asked the question. You're going up against a team, and it must be so taxing. You know, Herds is just going to step out, headshot, and within a breath. You know, you're 2 men down and the round starts to swing. So W7M giving themselves a little bit of an advantage on the defence there, but this time going to be taking CCTV as the next site. SSG, I'm interested to see, you know, do they just go for the straight CCTV open and push, or is there going to be some attention onto construction side as well?
Onwards we step then. Let's see how this one plays forward. Let's begin with looking out for any potential C4s lurking underneath, any Valk cams that might be scattered around. Well, I'll say Valk cams, Valk's banned away. So can't find any of those, I'm afraid, hot and cold. But would have been searching skywards to find whatever else that he might have dangling underneath in case any drops into logistics hatch came a little bit later on. Ashen, inside the bar, has already got himself in pretty quickly and comfortably, and Herds has been caught completely unawares 40 seconds into the round.
He's just setting himself
I just saw that drone behind him and ignored it. There is a drone on him inside of gym, so they know that he's there is now the only concern.
Yeah, certainly needs to be aware of that. I don't think he's seen this. Taking pot shots. No, he's just going to be attacked from the window, trying to play in behind the Kiva barricade, but KZ seems to just be unaware of that drone in behind him, holding on to for the time being, gets himself into bathroom. Philippok's just trying to push down these stairs, gets an absolute freebie onto Ashen there, who's sat drawn in 4 versus 4, and W7M holding on to this entire top floor at the minute, not just the site.
That's the worst thing, where Ashen's moved forward with a nade and said, yeah, that nade will give me a bit of room to get on drone and see where this guy is. Am I being pushed? Am I not? By the time he probably actually loads up the drone is when he's being swung and he's guaranteed dead. So really good response there by W7M to keep things at 4 and 4.
Hot and cold, just using those angles opened up in the garage wall, hoping for a rotate on catwalk, hoping for any sort of movement, but as you can see, W7M, it looks a little bit like hands are off keyboards at the minute. We're comfortable with where we are. We've got a minute left to go, so we're just going to wait this one out. There is one on blue stairs at the minute. JV92 on catwalk does manage to pick up Hot and Cold, who was watching for that angle, but gets hit in reverse. Fultz just trying to open up that CCTV wall a little bit more, but with 50 seconds left to go, SSG not really established inside of the map anywhere. They don't have too much control. Forest is sort of lurking around on the bottom floor, looking to get up into garage, I think, to support the attack, but there you go. He's just trying to deal with the mirror. He has to win this fight and does. 3 versus 3, 30 seconds though. Time is going to be the problem. So
hard to play against that Vector at close range, highest rate defender gun in the game. It's just horrific to face off against, but he gets it done. 3 versus 3, Tim. At this point, 20 seconds on the clock. They've really got to get a shifty on. They're barely even looking inside a garage at the moment, and JV92 is still sat up on high. He's still got goo mines to play behind. They're going to run out of the clock here, Tim.
Dinano gets up, gets one kill and an important one at that, taking control of garage. KZ manages to get the trade, but here comes Forest on into sight. It's going to be a 1v1 between him and KZ. 3 seconds left to go. KZ has the run and manages to find the shot, takes down Forest, and that is W7M now going 5-3 and looking comfortable on defense.
And a couple of clutches along the way, Tim. You know, KZ there in that 1 versus 2, JV92 earlier on. Without those, this could have been a 5-3 to SSG. It could have been a 4-4, somewhere split down the middle. It's just one of those games where it's quite neck and neck between the two and hard to see which way it's going to fall. Gym, bedroom, going to be the next site we head into. Will be that 3rd site before, I imagine, we go through the same 3-site rotation. If W7M win this round, do anticipate we'll see a tack timeout coming in for SSG. I say it all the time, if a team goes down 0-3 at the start of a half, chances are they'll take that pause just to reset momentum, look back over those last 3 sites they've played, knowing they're going to play all 3 of them again, and just try and get things amended so they don't have another 0-3 coming into the following 3 rounds.
5 seconds left.
So well played by Casey here as well. Just
it was
cool, calm, collected, a step back, step in.
Yeah, nice and sort of gentle, not too aggressive, keeping his cover, just waiting for Forest to make the move, really. And I think given the time on the clock, I don't know, maybe KZ has a little check of the clock, sees that there's only a couple of seconds. He knows that Forest doesn't really have time to circle all the way around those shelves, so there's only one side that he needs to concern himself with, pre-fires it and ends the round pretty well. W7M 5-3 up then, and going pretty well on defense. SSG yet to find a round, and you feel like this is the one that they really need.
early EE1D in case there are any cheap spawn peaks coming out or jump outs or anything else of the madness that we saw from, I think it was Ashen back in the first half, running out of strip, for example, and finding one for himself. Just trying to counter exactly the same. Seeing the Lion more and more, to be fair, I think with the KB being banned away so much, you're just going to see Lion be quite a staple for a lot of attacking lineups, just so they have something on side to help out with shutting down their own game, given how slippery some teams can be, especially with the Solis now currently in the meta, obviously not being played too much in this game, but I think for most teams, Solis has been, as I say, a staple.
Forrest is just getting that drawn across the mid-floor. Plenty of information flying into them. It's going to be a bedroom attack this time. A lot of utility that they'll have to play for if they want to work their way up those main stairs. They've got barbed wire and other elements to come across. Hot and cold on the knock. Is going to be looking potentially then to get up red stairs, but there's a clash that he's going to come face to face with. Nade in hand, ready though. Going to send it up to the top of stairs. Does a lot of damage to Nade, but not enough. Nade's back was turned for a fraction of a second, but he just managed to get it facing the right way.
Oh no! It's not the first time we've seen that this tournament, to be fair. A couple of players have whipped it with the nades and ended up downing themselves off the back of it. At the very least, he didn't kill himself, though. Tim was able to get res back up by Forrest on the Finker.
Folks is making some good progress. Going to get inside a cache here. It suggests, I'm just having a look how many drones they've got left. They've got 6 drones left, but just the movement there from SSG suggesting they don't know exactly what's ahead of them. They're not confident that cache was clear, just going in and having to face check it at the same time, but all's well that ends well.
Cheeky.
Ooh, trying that vertical angle. Do manage to pop the mirror out so they won't get overly aggressive on there. Nitro does get shot out as Herds tries to put it out of the window. Now then, Herds is in a bad position here. J9 is going to take full advantage and finds a beautiful shot. SSG saying, you might have some shots, but guess what? We've plenty stacked up too. And that leaves them now 5 versus 3 and looking good in round 9. Very
precarious, as he was really one of their main lines of defense there, looking out towards the west. With that now gone, they're going to have to pull the clash back in, as you're seeing, from construction side back in towards site. Just got to tighten everything up. So, yeah, Herds again, damned if you do, damned if you don't. He really had to try and play that challenge, but he was massively disadvantaged. No mirror window, holes in the floor below him, a player outside and Jacuzzi to challenge at the same time. Just so much for him to try and take on there. SSG still running around with this one, but they have got 3 players that have taken a fair chunk of damage in the round, and here comes the plant attempt.
Yeah, Fulce is going to try and stick this. He has to come off it as his cover dies, and he is going to be taken down as well. That puts the diffuser down in the middle of sight. Not ideal, and as they try to come in through the windows, they're going to get taken down, but J9 makes a real attempt of it. Gets a 1v3, I think it was, back to a 1v1, but is unable to close it out at the final battle.
Just one of those again where I think it's a difficult situation with another, I won't say a clutch, it was a 1v1 being won out here by W7M, but it is another one of those situations, unfortunately. We have got Fresh here again, and during a timeout, we have a good chat with him, Tim, as we've got a good couple of minutes or so. Hello there, Mr. Fresh.
Hi, boys. Just checking you can hear me this time.
Well, I can indeed hear you, my man.
All good.
Look, mate, I want to ask you about, first and foremost, I'll ask you a question. It's like you're a coach now. Oh. I want to pose you a question, because W7M we saw moving at extreme pace in the first half. SSG just don't really seem to have that same bite.
Yeah, this was the point I was going to bring up. So sometimes you've got a team where it's quite stylistically, they want to play a little bit gung-ho, they want to get fast, they want to get in the faces of their opponent, and that's what SSG like to do. But the map sometimes doesn't allow for it, and that's what Clubhouse is like. So I think that's why SSG, you know, are really costing themselves in these attack rounds, because that's 3 attack rounds lost now, is because it has come down to so late on time, particularly that CCTV attack, where 2 guys are walking in garage, both getting hit by a goo mine with, what, 15 seconds left? And you're forced basically to just carry on pushing through the goo mine, and eventually, you know, obviously got downed on the garage stairs. So I want to see them really try and take some more risks and increase that tempo in their attack.
Anything from you, Tim Tam?
I don't think so. He's covered it extremely well there.
Just stay fresh.
The man's a professional.
Your outfit today.
Ah, thank you. I saw what Laxon was wearing and I had to kind of match it. He's got a black jacket and a grey t-shirt, so I've got a black t-shirt and a grey jacket.
Not too bad, mate. I guess really the good question then, you spoke a little bit around the kind of timing piece there.
Yeah.
We're going into a basement site for this potential last round. What do you really want to see SSG get right in the first 60 seconds?
I think in terms of, you've got to win, you know, each part of the round, right?
I think, yeah, they've got to win Fresh, yeah.
Yeah, no, obviously they've got to win, but they've got to win each phase of the round. So I think it starts off with those drones. Make sure you can, you know, even if you just put in drones in zones that you can clear from prep phase, have somebody just holding them, clear the top floor, clear the mid floor, whatever it is. Try and get that information, try and get good information at the start of the prep phase, and then play off that. Because if you can remove some of the times, SSG would have won some of these rounds if they had 30 more seconds. It's just that they didn't. So the early rounds got to be really, really hot, and that relies basically all on their drone work.
Well, let's see if they can do it. Fresh, thank you very much, Mr. Professor.
you.
We'll catch up with you a bit later on, mate.
See you soon.
There we go, the fadeaway. See you soon.
Three-pointer.
It's all about that drone work. Let's see how they get on then, Tim, with the start of the round.
30 seconds in then. We haven't got SSG inside of the building just yet. So as we would expect, the droning is continuing. We've got Forest is now Forest is going to be joined by Fulton J9 still on the drone work. KZ nearly loses his life there. Hot and Cold certainly coming away the better to begin with at least, but takes a few bullets of damage just as he's trying to escape from that and keep himself alive to fight into the later round. Out comes the nade, going to send that one down towards main stairs. Won't get any joy with it though, as KZ is long gone.
I'm not sure who it was on main stairs, probably Felipox. I imagine just up an extra layer on these main stairs, who was in a good spot to swing there and to support the castle and taking that firefight. Could have been an easy 2v1, but I think actually it was a good read by Hot and Cold to just get out of there, not carry on that firefight and extend it any further. Just opted to rotate out as we've seen now. May have to try and work his way back in though, as really his task is control of main stairs.
Fultz just working his way across that top floor. W7M really looking to defend the entire map to begin with, but have got themselves back, and there's just sort of a lot of almost sort of phantom pressure then because of that presence out in the map. SSG feel a need to get it cleared out completely, and you know, as Fresh said, they like to play aggressive, like to play in the faces, and this is just going to burn a lot of that time that SSG have, and it's potentially going to deny them that opportunity when they do get onto the attack at the end.
Well, slowly working their way down here in a spot, I was going to say, looking okay so far as they were starting to work on hatches, but it has been that little bit slower. And they've also lost out on the entry with Hot and Cold being the one to fall away, and they've got the re-electrification come on through. Hatch stays closed. It's a couple more kills coming in for W7M, and it looks like actually, Tim, Clubhouse is going to remain a fortress for the Brazilians.
Almost certainly. JV92, he's been fantastic so far. 10 and 6 on the game, has hit some absolute beauties and continues to do so on main stairs. J9 has had a game himself, to be fair, 11 and 8. He's going to move down and try to rescue SSG's hopes here as he moves in through blue. The Pox alarm gives him away, but I tell you what, doesn't matter if you get given away, if you're going to hit headshots like that. Hertz gets taken down, but Felipox once again there for the trade, and that's something W7M have done so well through this game, is keep on top of the trades, and they are going to find that final kill onto Kitchen, cut themselves up a win, and W7M go on to 1-1 here in the Swiss.
Drone game may have been alright at the start of that round, as Fresh was talking about, but when it came round to the firefights, W7M, well, they brought a whole arsenal to this party. Now with them moving forward, up and getting another one for SSG. Things start looking a bit precarious, Tim.
They do. Of course, you know, the way we look at Swiss is you've got 3 lives, 3 losses, and you will be out. So SSG now 0 and 2. They are going to be looking at a tough decider match tomorrow.
They will. We'll find out, of course, who they play against a bit later on today once all the games are concluded, because Swiss is all based on seeding. But obviously, I think we know at this point that we're starting to see the clear separation. The teams all falling into these brackets of being 2 and 0, 1 and 1, obviously 0 and 2 in some of these cases as well. So in case you are wondering, tomorrow we do get the best of 3s underway to see who starts going home.